Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Marenfeld. I'm Brandon Marenfeld. Thank you for joining me. This is episode 104 of Hockey on the Spot. Not too much to talk about. Only 3 games last night, this day in hockey history, of course. But we do have a few updates to go over, so let's do it now. Starting with, a continuation on the last update we talked about last time with the Buffalo Sabres. They have officially fired general manager Darcy Regier and head coach Ron Ralston. Ralston, of course, remembering, was originally came up as an interim coach and did pretty well in the beginning, but it has just not worked out. And Darcy Regier, he's brought in some great youngsters, but he has not yet developed a winning team. So, there definitely a change was needed. They have officially hired Pat LaFontaine as president of Hockey Ops to run the hockey department and have named Ted Nolan as head coach. And again, they fired Regier and Ralston just before. Meanwhile, LaFontaine is on the search for a new GM, but says he already has a short list of candidates. For Ted Nolan, though, this is his second stint as a Buffalo Sabres head coach, and he brought a lot of success to the team when he was coaching them. He, of course, was the head coach before the longest-running coach in Sabres history, Lindy Ruff. Yes. And yes, as I just said, he's searching for a new general manager, but he's already has a short list of candidates. The Rockford Ice Hogs of the American Hockey League have signed defenseman Blake Kessel to a pro tryout contract. He, of course, is the younger brother of Phil Kessel, and this is the American Hockey League affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. A couple nights ago, Ryan Miller earned his 46th career shootout victory, which is now one more than New York Rangers' Henrik Lundqvist for the most all time. Which is pretty impressive. Former Leafs head coach Doug Shedden will make his second appearance as head coach of Team Canada in this year's Spengler Cup from December 26th to December 31st in Davos, Switzerland. Serge Pelletier will be his assistant. Meanwhile, Brad Pascal, Winnipeg Jets assistant GM Craig Helsinger, and Phoenix Coyotes assistant GM Brad Treliving will comprise of the Spengler Cup management team. Good honor for those guys. Los Angeles Kings goaltender Jonathan Quick is out indefinitely with a lower body injury, believed to be groin or hip, and that is why he left late in the game a couple nights ago between the Los Angeles Kings and Buffalo Sabres. This is a big loss not only for the Los Angeles Kings but also for Team USA. This is the guy who many people believed would be the starter for Team USA this year. So for the sake of Team USA, hopefully he will not be out for very long, because they need a goaltender of his talent. With the Buffalo Sabres firing Ron Ralston, Florida Panthers cutting Kevin Dineen, and the Philadelphia Flyers letting Peter Laviolette go already this NHL season, that makes it 27 head coaching changes in the last 3 seasons. Since the lockout ended in January, there have been 9 teams that have changed their coach. The longest coaching tenures as far as seasons are Barry Trotz, 16 with the Nashville Predators, Mike Babcock, 9 with the Detroit Red Wings, Claude Julien, 7 with the Boston Bruins, Joel Quenneville of the Chicago Blackhawks, and Todd McClellan of the San Jose Sharks tied for 6. Dave Tippett of the Phoenix Coyotes, and Dan Bilesma of the Pittsburgh Penguins tied for 5. And Jack Capuano of the New York Islanders, 3. Everyone else is 2 seasons or less. With new Florida Panthers owner Vincent Viola demanding success and giving Florida General Manager Dale Talon the nod to shake things up, Florida is open to moving anyone On the roster, not named, Marcel Gottsch, Nick Bjugstad, Jonathan Huberdeau, Alexander Barkov, or Eric Goodbranson. Marcel Gottsch is the only veteran that is not for sale because of how well he's been this season. He has been one of their upsides this season, and let's face it, he's one of the better depth players. He may not have lived up to his expectations as a first-round draft pick. That much we know. He was drafted in the first round in 2001, German player. But as a depth player and as a defensive forward, he is one of the best. San Jose Sharks know it, Nashville Predators know it, and now the Florida Panthers know it. That is for sure. St. Louis Blues center Derek Roy, a $4 million free agent signing, now finds himself on the left wing and bumped to the fourth line. Roy says, I need to keep working. Playing on the wing is an adjustment. It's tough when you get pucks to the wall, when you're not used to getting them. Guys are barreling on you and coming with speed. Those little things I've just got to get better at. It takes a while, but there's no excuse. I've got to play better. That is definitely true. For Derek Roy, he has not exactly been what they have bargained for, which you got to look at a team like the Anaheim Ducks, who had him as their primary candidate as their number 2 center. They must be looking right at themselves right now and saying, "Thank God we didn't go after him. Thank God he didn't sign with us, and thank God that we got Matthew Perreault." Toronto Maple Leafs forward Nazem Kadri got into quite a bit of trouble last night with a couple of things. Number one, for running over Minnesota Wild goaltender Nicholas Backstrom and injuring him. And number two, making and hitting Minnesota Wild forward Michael Granlund in the chin. So, we'll see what happens. Speaking of the Minnesota Wild, defenseman Ryan Suter's time on ice total of 108 minutes and 19 seconds in his last 3 games is the most in the NHL since TOI started being tracked in 2000-2001. NHL players have exceeded 35 minutes of ice time just 10 times since 2007. 3 of those were recorded by Ryan Suter in the last week. So, which tells you how valuable he is to this team. And last but not least, the crucial 20-game mark is upon us, and NHL teams around the league are looking to shake things up in order to survive the season. For the Dallas Stars, Vernon Fiddler asking for a trade. For the Nashville Predators, they are talking to the Anaheim Ducks about Jonas Hiller. Contract talks have started for both Montreal Canadiens P.K. Subban and Toronto Maple Leafs Dion Phaneuf. For the Edmonton Oilers and Philadelphia Flyers, busy. Florida Panthers willing to trade anyone but Gottsch, Bjugstad, Huberdeau, Barkov, or Goodbranson. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are close to moving John Michael Liles to the Carolina Hurricanes. Those are some of the big things that have been going on lately. And that is pretty much all the updates for today. Let us get to the 3 games from last night. Starting with the game that seems to be the most talked about from last night, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota. Nicholas Backstrom starting the game, but then leaving the game for Josh Harding. And he comes in for the injured Nicholas Backstrom and wins again to improve to 10-2-2 with a 1.21 goals against average and 948 save percentage. So, congratulations to Nicholas Backstrom and to Josh Harding, and hopefully Nicholas Backstrom will be all right. In the meanwhile, Nazem Kadri has got into quite a bit of trouble in last night's game, as we talked about, running the goaltender Nicholas Backstrom. He received 2 minutes for that, and a hit to the head or the chin of Minnesota Wild forward Michael Granlund. I do not believe Granlund suffered any kind of injury from that, which is good news. But Kadri was kicked out of the game and received a game-high 14 minutes in penalties. Well-deserved, too. Well-deserved indeed. Plus a hooking against Justin Fontaine. So he was just a dangerous player on the ice last night. But again, it was the Wild who would win by a final score of 2-1 in a shootout. Toronto Maple Leafs scored the first goal of the game, but then in the third period, Zach Parise tied it up with his 9th of the year, assisted by Charlie Coyle and Mikko Koivu. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, their goal came on the power play. Mason Raymond would score it with his 6th of the year, assisted by Morgan Rielly and Nazem Kadri. Mason Raymond has slowed down a little bit since the beginning of the season. He hasn't had a point in 3 games. So he seems to be coming back down to earth a little bit. In the shootout, the Minnesota Wild went with Zach Parise, Mikko Koivu, and Jason Pominville, while the Toronto Maple Leafs went with Mason Raymond and Phil Kessel. And that is all they would need to go with because the Wild scored twice. Zach Parise and Jason Pominville. Pominville's would be the shootout winner. And the Leafs would miss both times. Leading the Minnesota Wild in penalty minutes was Charlie Coyle with 7. Leading them the way in shots on goal was Zach Parise, the goal scorer. He had 6 shots on goal, which is remarkable, and worthy of the second star. Ryan Suter and Nino Niederreiter were second with 4. And how about Ryan Suter? 36 minutes of ice time. That's just unbelievable. This guy just never ceases to amaze. He really doesn't. How about the plays of Mikko Koivu and Kyle Brodziak? 3 takeaways for those 2. And as far as the goaltending goes, again, Nicklas Backstrom did get the start and was playing well until he got hurt. He faced 3 shots and made all 3 saves before getting hurt just 10 minutes and 31 seconds in. Josh Harding comes in and preserves the win, making 19 saves on 20 shots, a .950 save percentage. Good job by him, and he was the 3rd star of the game as well. For the Toronto Maple Leafs again, we saw, as I said, Nazem Kadri, 14 minutes in penalties, well-deserved, 2 minors, and a 10-minute misconduct. Joffrey Lupul was second with 5 shots on goal. James Van Riemsdyk and Phil Kessel led the team with 4 each. Hits was a big thing for the Leafs yesterday. Dion Phaneuf led the team with 6. And that was also the game lead. Mark Frazier and Jay McClement both had 4. So that was for second. So, not a good night, though, for defenseman Jake Gardiner. 3 giveaways in the game. However, the best player on the ice, probably for both teams, would have had to have been the goaltender, Jonathan Bernier. Even though he got the loss, he was the game's first star. 33 saves on 34 shots, a .971 save percentage, which is unbelievable. Great statistics despite the loss. So the Leafs get a point, but they not good enough to get the win. Congrats to the Minnesota Wild, and hopefully Nicklas Backstrom is all right. And the big question now, how many games is Nazem Kadri going to get? And he will be a big loss for the Leafs during his suspension. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh. How about the Flyers robbing the Pens of a win by a final score of 2-1? For the Philadelphia Flyers, both of their goals being scored by Braden Shen, his 5th and 6th of the year, respectively. His first goal was assisted by Wayne Simmons only, and his second goal came on the power play, assisted by Steve Downey and Jacob Voracek. So 2 goals on the night for Braden Shen. He was the only multi-point performer for either team. Matt Reed, however, would be the team leader with 5 shots on goal. But Braden Shen, in addition to leading the team in scoring, he also led the team with 6 hits a guy who's not normally a hitter. Nicholas Grossman, a guy who is normally a hitter, was second with 5, and third was Wayne Simmons with 4. He's another guy who's normally a hitter. So a guy who doesn't normally hit leading over 2 guys who do normally hit. It happens on occasion. Ray Emery got the starting goal and was fantastic, his second win of the season. He was the first star, Braden Shen was the second star. 30 saves on 31 shots, a .968 save percentage for Ray Emery. Congratulations to him. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, their only goal of the game coming on the power play, Sidney Crosby scoring his 9th of the year, assisted by Evgeny Malkin and Jussi Jokinen. And for Crosby, his first goal in a while, actually. He hadn't scored a point in 2 games, and his first goal in 7 games. He was scoring quite a few goals in the early going. He has slowed down a little bit, but he did have a great game last night, I will admit. For the Pens, again, they totally outshot the Flyers in this game. Sidney Crosby leading the team and leading the team and the game with 6 shots on goal. Chris Letang was second with 5, and Pascal Dupuis was third with 4. As far as hits are concerned, Tanner Glass and Brooks Orpik both led the team with 5. Chris Kunitz was technically third with 4. In net, Marc-Andre Fleury got the start, and he made just 19 saves on 21 shots, a .905 save percentage. I personally don't consider that a great performance by any stretch. That's just me, though. I think he probably did play well, but still. In either way, congratulations to the Philadelphia Flyers. And last but certainly not least, we have the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. How about the Dallas Stars? A 3-0 shutout victory in Edmonton. The Oilers just continue to struggle. They seriously cannot wait to get Ilya Bryzgalov up and playing. After a scoreless first period, Rich Peverley would score the game-winning goal with his 4th of the year, assisted by Jordy Ben and Antoine Roussel. And then after that, late in the third period, the Dallas Stars would actually score 2 empty net goals, which doesn't happen often in a game. Tyler Seguin would score the first one unassisted, his 8th of the year, and then Antoine Roussel would score the second one, assisted by Trevor Daley and Kari Lehtinen, the goaltender. He gets an assist, his second assist of the season. And for Antoine Roussel, it would be his second goal of the season. So, great night for Antoine Roussel, a goal and an assist in the game. He was the only multi-point performer for either team. And for the Dallas Stars, Rich Peverley, the only real standout as far as shots on goal are concerned. 5 shots on goal for him. And how about Alex Goligoski? What a defensive game for him. 6 block shots in the game for a season that's been really rough for him. And actually, no, Rich Peverley did not lead the team with 5 shots on goal. That was second. The leader in shots on goal was actually Tyler Seguin, who had 6. So, he was first, Rich Peverley was second. The 2 former Boston Bruins getting goals and shots on goal. And of course, the goaltender, Kari Lehtinen, was the number 1 star of the game without question. A 22-save shutout for him, including a highlight reel save on Edmonton forward Jordan Eberle. Congratulations to him. He is now 8-3-2 on what has been a solid season for the Dallas Stars. For the Edmonton Oilers, nobody stood out as far as shots on goal are concerned or hits. But block shots, Jeff Petrie had a great defensive game with 6 block shots. He was the shot blocking machine last night. However, he also had 4 giveaways, as did Taylor Hall. So it wasn't a great performance for Taylor Hall in particular. Devin Dubnyk got the start, and now he is 3-9-1. He gets another loss. However, let's face it, despite the loss by that margin, 2 of those goals were empty net goals. He only gave up 1 goal. It actually wasn't a bad performance by him. He was the game's second star, after all. 23 saves on 24 shots and .958 save percentage. Those aren't bad statistics at all, so Devan Dubnyk cannot be blamed for this loss last night. This all has to do with their inability to play 6-on-5. Congrats to the Dallas Stars, and congrats to Kari Lehtinen. Rich Peverley was the 3rd star, by the way. So congrats to the Dallas Stars on a huge win. That is all the game action. And now, folks, only one thing left to do. We now go to this day in hockey history from November 14th. In 1998, Tom Barrasso of the Pittsburgh Penguins recorded his 31st career shutout as the Pittsburgh Penguins won over the visiting Florida Panthers 4-0. Tom Barrasso spent the majority of his career with the Pittsburgh Penguins, where he won 2 Stanley Cups in 1991 and 1992. He won an Olympic silver medal with Team USA at the 2002 Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. In his NHL career, he achieved 38 shutouts in the regular season and 6 in the playoffs. He also won the Calder Trophy as the top rookie in the NHL and Vezina Trophy as the top goaltender in the NHL in 1984. And that is your famous moment for this day in hockey history. And that will also do it for episode 104 of Hockey on the Spot. This has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Marenfeld. I'm Brandon Marenfeld. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you all again tomorrow. Thank you and have a great day.